Hello, everyone. It is the Last Raider, and we are back. Oh boy, and it's a sad day, man. I mean, it's sad that another franchise that was had a cult following and a fan and was just favored by the fans and beloved by it, myself included, has fallen to woke culture yet again and become almost has no value anymore. And the franchise I'm talking about is Terminator. Those of you who don't know, they did Terminator Dark Fate, which I have yet to see, and I'm probably just going to wait for that to come out for free on my Hopper on Dish, so I can just me and my wife will watch that at home. That's not something we would go to the movies and spend an abhorrent amount of money on. We're sitting here on FoxNews.com. Yes, we're using Fox News, but that's okay because I'm using this right now to give people an idea of just how, or at least my reasoning on why franchises nowadays are also dying. It's because people are they're detached from, there's this big disconnect, a detachment, if you will, between the audience and the people making the movies. So, here on Fox, they're talking about, Terminator Judgment Day. It might be Terminator Dark Fate. It might be Judgment Day for the Terminator franchise, despite generally favorable reviews and the return of star Linda Hamilton. The producer James Cameron. I just can't talk today. Terminator Dark Fate has opened well below expectations at the box office. Studios on Sunday estimated Dark Fate earned only $29 million from over 4,000 North American locations. The film for Paramount Pictures cost a reported $185 million to produce. That's bad at just $29 million. In fact, it's 185. I think it's even more than that because someone actually stated that without continuing merchandising, you're looking at over $285 million. Because there's $100 million in marketing for the franchise, and then that's not also including merchandising for the franchise. So I mean, it could be well over $200 million that it's lost right now. Not enough about that. That was $185 million was just the price to produce it. That was just making the film. That's not everything else included. It was enough to win the top spot at the box office, but it's a weak victory for the franchise. Although Dark Fate, which was directed by Deadpool's Tim Miller, received much better reviews, currently at 69% on Rotten Tomatoes. I don't know if that they don't tell you who reviewed it at 69%. Is that a audience score or a critic score? Because there's two of them on Rotten Tomatoes. Fox News got to do better journalism. And this was praised for being a return to form for James God. People just write better, my lord. And was praised for being a return to form to Cameron's original films. God, Northerners. It opened just slightly ahead of 2015's roundly derided Terminator Genisys. I don't think that's how you spell Genesis. Now, here's the part where I kind of am like, this is the big disconnect here. This is what they're saying was the problem with it. These big brands carry with them huge expectations, often unrealistic expectations, said ComScore senior media analyst, whatever your name is. It wasn't for a lack of enthusiasm for the stars and filmmakers. So this is this guy's response to it. He's like, the brand had too big of expectations from the audience to be able to meet it. Oh, yeah, really. It wasn't, and spoiler alert, because I went out and read the spoilers when people started saying how bad it was. It couldn't be the fact of, I don't know, we killed John Connor off at the very beginning, retconning the first two movies, then completely recycled the entire Terminator 2 supremacists so that we could shove in our own fan fiction, super woke version of Terminator that emasculated just about every other male in there. By the way, Arnold Schwarzenegger's, to those out there that had not seen it, Arnold Schwarzenegger's, description of his character Carl was almost like he was promoting pro-sex bots for women, because that's about all that was. Just Arnold's character was basically for his wife a vibrator that mows the yard. Every feminist's dream. Okay? Yeah. So anyway, this guy's like, it wasn't for a lack of enthusiasm for the stars and the filmmakers. Did you hear Linda Hamilton say, "I'll be back"? I'll be back. I think they all understood just how bad this movie was going to be. You've got two stars from the 90s and one of the biggest franchises that defined American pop culture to an extent, that has almost as many references in both The Simpsons and Family Guy as Star Wars does. And you're telling me that they were all enthused about it? No. I think Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger knew what was happening. They were just there for a paycheck. They knew, oh, this is the woke stuff that nobody likes. This is going to bomb. Yeah, but like I said, it can't be because we retconned the first two movies and then recycled Terminator 2 so that we could run our own fan fiction version of Terminator 2. It's got to be, and what he's doing is he's blaming the fans. We're blaming the fans for, this analyst here is blaming the fans for having too high expectations. People don't have high expectations. They want an original movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger kicking ass as the Terminator, or some new guy that can take the mantle as Terminator. When we saw that, the whole purpose of Linda Hamilton and Arnold Schwarzenegger, that it seems like in that movie, and bringing James Cameron back, was to try and drum up enough nostalgia to bring back the original fans after the disaster that was Genesis. That was going woke. Okay, Genesis was going woke. I actually have seen Salvation. I actually liked it. It was a little boring for a Terminator movie, but you got to remember, Salvation was pegged up to be 3 extra movies. And if you look at, they did a comic book, kind of shoring up that timeline. And in there was a point where the Terminator, or Skynet, Marcus ends up coming back, and because of certain events that happen, he ends up forging a unsteady alliance or peace between Skynet and humanity. And I'm sitting there thinking, why didn't you guys just start from there? Okay? Give us an amazing battle with a weathered John Connor, some old dude. Who was the general? I can't remember his name for the life of me. The general, the guy that had his face scarred up on Pandora in Avatar. Have that guy play a weathered John Connor, and have him, having to ally himself with a T-800 or something. It doesn't have to look like Arnold. It couldn't be just like a different model. Because if you look at the original movie, Arnold's character wasn't killing off everyone. In fact, the first, like the second Terminator, I think you see when Kyle Reese is dreaming, that Terminator looks completely different. And it makes a lot of sense too, because the Terminators, there would have to be a variation in them to be able to fool humanity enough. Because eventually humanity just put a picture up being like, okay, if you see this guy, shoot him till he stops moving. In fact, blow him up and kill all the pieces that keep moving. Okay? That's what humanity would do. So the idea that there would be multiple different kinds of Terminators and not just Terminators that all look like Arnold Schwarzenegger all the time. You could get some guys that are big, heavy bodybuilders or something like that to play. That's what Arnold was back in the day. He was a bodybuilder who could act. And he looked good, he sounded good, and he was witty on screen. He had those one-liners that everybody loved. This here, however, blaming the fans is a new trend within Hollywood. When all else fails, blame the fans. There's always blame the fans. They're blaming the fans. They're going to be blaming the fans here pretty soon because, oh my God, all these fans are just misogynistic. Star Wars is going to come along. It's going to fail. And they're going to blame the fans for Star Wars failing, which is true. It is the fans' fault for not going and watching trash and actually spending their money wisely. But what do they expect? You're telling me that a fan isn't supposed to, what they kind of act like is they act almost as if they expect you to be stupid cattle that just go into a chute, spit out some money, like almost like a cow, pretty much. They go in there and they stick the money sucker to the udder of the customer, suck out the money they want, and then send them back out to pasture to get effed up again and have another calf. They don't view. They don't have. I think the thing that I would probably have to say here is Hollywood has just lost respect for the fandom. And if that be the case, they need to go back and watch the Teen Titans Go episode where the Teen Titans try to make more fans based on their number one fan. It doesn't work. And it ends up blowing up completely in the Teen Titans' face. And they end up losing a whole lot more. They end up losing a lot more than what they were originally bargaining on. But, yeah, tell me what you think about this, media, Hollywood basically coming up with new excuses for blaming fans. Don't forget to like and comment in the bottom. I'd love to hear what y'all think about this. Also, if you're new to the channel, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. And as always, I'm The Last Raider. Keep your head on a swivel, stay frosty, and I'll see you guys next time.